Oh, happy to be here with you today. Little bit of introduction before we start. I'm a health coach. I'm also a holistic nutrition specialist and wellness strategist. And I've been working with international clients for 6 years now. Before, I was an English teacher in France, and when COVID came, I just decided to go online and to help more people from all around the world. So that's basically what I'm doing, is helping busy people, busy moms as well, trying to reclaim their energy, their health and fitness if they want to. And I'm trying to do this with baby steps, trying to meet the people where they are and give the best so they can feel the best and feel the best for a long time, sustainably. So that's what I'm doing. If you have any question later, feel free to ask.
Fantastic. And I think most of you know me. I'm going to be coming from this topic in terms of just what is sapping our energy and just what being too busy can potentially make us want to do in terms of behavior patterns, especially around food and drink and other things. So Anissa's going to start by basically helping us to understand the difference between being busy and being too busy, aren't you, Anissa?
Yeah, so I guess that, most of us, we are busy because that's life, We have things to do, we have kids to manage, we have so many stuff, projects that we want to work on. So busy is part of life. But there's a point in life when you start getting overly busy and you start overdoing and overcomplicating things. And I think that's when you need to be helped, and you need to you need to be aware of what's going wrong there and try to find ways to, to adapt yourself, to become flexible and to find solutions, because otherwise you will end up with health issues and mental issues. Every situation is a little bit different, but first thing first is to really realize and bring consciousness to the fact that being overly busy is not normal. And for some people, they need to be busy all the time because otherwise they feel unproductive, they feel incapable. And then it's not your fault because, in a way, it's kind of trauma from the past. It can be from childhood, for example. And some people can feel forced, to be a performer because of their parents' education, because of the society and the pressure that is waiting on us. And then you start developing a kind of pattern. So you cannot be fully present to yourself, and it starts becoming difficult to be just being, And instead of being a human being, you start being a human doing. So to me, it's quite complicated if you're not aware of this. Yes.
So can we just pop a one if in the chat if you can resonate with what Anissa's just shared? Because I know that I can, because I learned very young that being busy was productive, that you should be persistently busy, and not being busy was lazy. Did anybody else? If you put a one in the chat, if you resonate with that, because that was definitely my upbringing.
This is also my own experience. Yes, when I was a kid, I've been always busy, and I was always been working very hard at school. So I guess most of us, we can relate to this.
Yeah, and I used to get asked at the end of the day, especially on school holidays, what have you learned and what have you done? In other words, you were not allowed to not be doing something. And I've definitely taken that into adulthood. And I think so many of us, especially if we're business owners, and put a two in the chat if you are a business owner, if it is your own business, you're not just working for somebody else. Can you resonate with always having to be busy because it's your responsibility, and if you're not busy you must be being lazy and unproductive? Right, I'm guessing that Steph's definitely agreeing with that. And so this is the stuff that, Anissa, you're going to help us to recognize why that is so detrimental to our energy, to our health.
Yeah, and then we start believing, you know, the more we hear people telling us that we need to be productive and we need to work more and we need to do this and that, and then we start really believing, and it becomes parts of our personality to just do and not be. And then it's our work and our antidote to try to relax, because then we can become more creative, we can have best ideas, be more productive, and above all, be more healthy and stop sabotaging ourselves.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't realize that we are actually sabotaging ourselves by the choices that we're making. We're doing these things, we think, to help us to keep on being busy and do more. And often the choices that we make are the very things that are making us feel even more tired and affecting our health in a detrimental way. Anissa, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah. Actually, what is the main consequence of being overly busy and being overly productive is that at some point, what we do is not really creative, it's not really productive, it's not really good for our health, and people start getting overly stressed as well. And then they develop a whole array of symptoms. And the reason why is that they don't know where to stop and when and how to stop as well. Okay. And the influence can be from the world around us, the stress influence, of course, of the social connection we have, of the job we have. If we are our own business owners, of course, it can be a little bit more difficult to manage the time and the task that we have as well. But it can be also the stress from the toxic load that we face on a daily basis, even the mold, you know, the environment, the pollution. And then we have the stress coming from the inside, the microbiome that is a little bit imbalanced, and the hormones, just like the neurotransmitters that can be imbalanced. We've all heard about dopamine, adrenaline, serotonin, and they influence our mood and the way we work. And then when we are constantly under a burden of stress, then everything is going to be completely imbalanced in our bodies.
Can I just ask by either a show of hands or you put in let's put a 1 in the chat, if you feel stressed? Because I think stress is a funny one, isn't it? Do we actually feel it? Or is it something that we just take as being the normal way of being and living? Do we feel stressed? Sally, you're saying yes, you do. Right. And what about
I'm
you?
like, sorry, I'm like, it's not just a 1.
Yeah, just a 1.
And I know, I suppose I do. It's the markers.
Yeah, I'm not precious. You can put real words in there. I'm just trying to think less keys to press. And I think this is one of those things where we hear the word stress, don't we? Bandied about all of the time. But do we actually understand what creates stress within the body? We've talked about toxins and the hormone imbalances, and they absolutely do. But a lot of the time, it's the thoughts that we think in our head about the stuff that hasn't even happened yet that creates so much stress. And that stress response, it's happening. You can't feel it. You can't see it. You can't touch it. You can't smell it. It's a bit like electricity, but it's happening. And this is the bit where if we tell ourselves, well, I'm busy and I work better when I'm busy because I'm being productive. But when you're doing something and your brain is somewhere else, on the next task, on the phone call, on the thing you should have done, at what time I'm picking up the kids, you're actually creating a drain on your cognitive bandwidth. And that in simple terms means that you are less focused, that you are mentally tired, if not physically as well. And that then stores your productivity. And the more busy we become, and the more we do this stuff, the more we create the stress response that Anissa was talking about. So this is the stuff that we want to help you to understand, because when your mind is wandering and you're doing one thing, but you're thinking another, you're not actually fully present on either thing. And so although women are designed to be absolutely multitaskers, we're good at it. survival, you know that we had to be. Yeah, but it doesn't make it productive. We're actually 40% less productive when we multitask, even though we might be good at it. If we don't do it, we could be even better. So what does that mean in terms of how it affects our health, Anissa?
Yeah, actually, multitasking, even if we are good at it as women, is also having a huge impact on our body and health. First thing is that we are running on adrenaline, and then it creates what we call adrenal fatigue, just like your adrenals, the glands that manage your stress level, are always jacked up. And then your body feels constantly under stress. And then there's everything is going to be down, you know. You start getting bad sleep and having the cortisol getting high at night, just like many people suffer from waking up around 2 a.m. in the morning, and mostly because they have a rise in cortisol, and then they wake up really tired, feeling sluggish because they lack a real recovery. The sleep is not of good quality. The body cannot detox as well when you don't sleep. The way you should sleep. I mean, good sleep, not just the hours, the quantity, but the quality of sleep. And then you can also develop immune conditions, for example, viral conditions, because when the cortisol is high, what happens is that the immunity is weakened, and then you can, have infection, you can have viruses come in and attack your body, and then your cells cannot do the job properly because they are too focused on trying to manage the stress that is constantly present. And then this is where we talk about chronic stress, okay? You cannot really feel it until you know that you're really fatigued, and then you start asking yourself, why am I so fatigued, and why is the body starting being dysregulated,
Can we show of hands or a 2 in the chat if you are somebody who does wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning with the brain racing, or are you somebody who is like, no, I'm good? Is that you, Anissa? You're doing it. It's more like 3, right? And so this is where often we kind of do this, and I know, hands up, right? I do. I don't even need to look at my clock. I know it's going to be 1 or 1:11 when I wake up. And that's usually because I do tend to follow the same routine of when I stop eating. And it's potentially because my blood sugar levels have dropped that my body is wanting to wake me up. And I've got 2 choices. I've been doing this work a flipping long time. So I have got control of my brain and I don't allow it to start going. But it would be very easy for me to go for a wee, come back, and my brain start going. So I've learned to not do that. But for many of us, that is the very stuff that then ensures that it becomes a habit. And these habits then become normal, except they're not. And the upshot is, as Anissa's just shared with us, lowered immunity, and you are just literally living on cortisol and adrenaline, which affects everything.
Yeah, and people don't
cortisol and adrenaline.
And people don't realize it. It's just like they know they are, for them they are just doing the usual way, being just working out, and they feel tired, but maybe it's normal because everyone is tired and everyone is stressed. So that's what people think today. So then it becomes even more difficult to try to pinpoint the reason why you're really feeling this rush of adrenaline or stress that you're not even aware of, because you don't know. It's so usual.
And this is an interesting thing that you've just shared, Anne. So thank you for sharing that you're usually awake until 1 or 1:30 in the morning. And this is where we have to be careful, because both Anissa and I are not a proponent of you should. We recognize everybody's different, and some people do actually function better when they work later, and therefore, as long as they get up later to ensure that they do get the quality sleep. So I'm not a person who says you must go to bed earlier, but how is that working for you? And that's the question to ask yourself. Are you waking up energized, or are you waking up thinking, oh, I could do with another couple of hours? Because these are the things that we sort of dismiss, but are telling us what we actually potentially do need to do.
Yeah, and also having the laptop open, late at night, even if we want to work, maybe a good way to work would be just to think about some of the ideas that we can prepare for the next day. Maybe not using the laptop, but just using pen and paper and writing down some of your ideas for the next day. Even maybe 3 priorities for the day to come. But, because of the light from the laptop and the fact that your brain is still very activated, then you can also completely disrupt the melatonin production. And this is also one of the reasons you cannot sleep, good quality sleep at night.
Absolutely true. And we also have to recognize that we want you guys to understand that it's not about you just changing your timetable and doing things differently and like going, I'll just cross that off my to-do list, because we're going to live in the real world. We all have got to do the things that we need to do to keep our homes running. We've got partners, kids, businesses, etc., clients, customers. And so, Anissa, would you like to share what are the top 3 things that you recommend people could start to change to help them to recognize that being busy and just changing a timetable is not necessarily going to stop you from feeling exhausted or burning out?
Yeah, so just like I explained, one of my top tip is to start working maybe in a very different way, not using the laptop or the phone at night, but trying just to use pen and paper because it's easy and you don't have the light that is activating parts of your brain that you don't want to be activated at night. The second thing that is really key for me is trying to have some breaks during the day when you're working. Even a 5-minute break and trying to go out and take some fresh air, or just taking some breather, just like 2 minutes time just to breathe very consciously, and then coming back to work is a good way to manage your stress, because otherwise your brain is always in what we call the sympathetic system, and this is the survival mode and the stress system. And what we want it to be is in the rest and digest system, which is the parasympathetic system. It just means that your brain is going to be more relaxed, so it can easily be done with some breath work, even 2 minutes of breath work, or just going out for a quick walk. It can take 2 minutes, coming back to work, and then you're feeling refreshed and you've got more creative ideas, and it's a way to be more productive as well. And the last thing that I want to mention, of course, is nutrition, because when you have the right nutrition, then you're bringing more energy to your brain, you're bringing more energy to your body. And this is the best way for the body to function, to work efficiently. If you're having fatty food, if you're having too much sugar just before a task or a meeting, then of course you're going to feel more sluggish, and your brain won't work the way you want it to work. So just make sure you've got enough nutrients, enough good fats like avocados and nuts and seeds and olive oil, for example. And do not forget carbs, because good carbs are also very important in a nutritious diet. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think this is, thanks for sharing that, Stephanie. So Stephanie's actually worked with me in the past. So we worked on actually helping her with various issues, and including protein in breakfast was absolutely a game changer. And this is the stuff that there's a load of crap out there on the internet, but there is some really important stuff and stuff that we do need to embrace. Women in general don't tend to eat enough protein. Anissa, I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah.
And what we recognize is that we've learned And don't forget, I'm in the era of the F-plan diet where everything was carbs, 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 fiber, fiber, carbs. And it was whole grain breakfast, whole grain cereal. And it was all of those things were breakfast foods. So for me, going to a protein breakfast was a bit of a shift, but recognizing that actually, do you know what? It doesn't have to be time consuming. One of the easiest ways is to just eat last night's dinner leftovers for breakfast. If you can't get your head around cooking the next day, it's really simple stuff. And I think what we got to also understand is that if we're eating and we're grabbing on the go high carb foods, which tend to be packaged, which tend to be higher in sugar and salt too, they are addictive. Not your fault. They've been designed that way. But you are going to have an energy rise followed by a deep crash, which means then you're ending up on a roller coaster of just grabbing all of the time, not necessarily eating proper meals. And this just exacerbates the tiredness, the exhaustion. And so we're doing this stuff almost mindlessly. And so getting conscious and doing what Anissa said is stopping. Actually, I know, amazing to say, because so many of us don't do it. Take a lunch break, like a proper away from your desk, not reading your emails, not on your phone. I know, shock horror, but actually like maybe going outside and sitting outside if the weather decides it's going to come back to being sunny again. My point is, if we don't actually nourish body, mind, and soul by taking a break, by feeding ourselves nutritious food, we will feel exhausted. And we will say it's because I've got so much on my plate, but actually it's not. It's because we're not doing what we need to do to help us to get through what is on our plate in a way that is more efficient.
Yeah, and then we believe that we are gaining time because we keep on working and we are not losing time. But actually, the ideas are not here to support our projects, and our energy is not here either. So we are not working the efficient way. And then to me, it's just a waste of time. It's not it's a waste of time, and also a way to a little bit step by step, day by day, destroy your health. That is your best asset to work, to be creative, productive, and just to live. You know, this is what we are meant for. We are meant to be and not just to do things.
Yeah, love it. So I'm going to share one of my top tips. And for anybody who was on the 5-day challenge that I did on mastering your energy last week, this is my favorite tip of the lot. I shared it midweek because I just love it. My top tip is every single time you have completed a task, yes, if you like a list, cross it off or give it a tick, but actually in your own head, congratulate yourself for doing it. Whether you fist pump, whether you give yourself an internal high five, or whether you just go, brilliant, job done. Then you stop. And you go, right, intentionally now, what is my next task? In other words, you're fully present. You have drawn a line under what you have just completed. You are resetting your energy and an intention for the next thing. And that is going to do exactly what Anissa said. It's going to take you from one end of your central nervous system, which is the fight or flight or freeze part, back down into the calm, rest, and digest, so that you go into the next task with the right energy, with a clear mind. It literally takes a minute. That is it. And that is how quickly you can start to become as busy as you would like to be to get your to-do list done, but actually get it done in a way that is not going to exhaust you. Does that sound doable? One in the chat, yes or no? 1 minute between tasks. Can we do it? Yes. Who is going to actually promise themselves that this afternoon you're going to try it and see how it works for you? Excellent. Fantastic. Anissa, over to you.
Yeah, so one way as well to support your brain function can be just to make sure that you've got enough good fats, as I told you earlier, and vitamin B in your diet, because most of the time, because we are stressed all the time as well, we are depleting our body from the right nutrition, and we are lacking nutrients. Like, for example, when we always have this rise in cortisol, the body is depleting itself from its potassium. So it's really important to make sure that the food that you eat is really high in potassium, just like almonds, bananas, for example, that are really high in potassium. It's really important as well to make sure you've got enough magnesium, because when your brain is overworking, then you need to bring the right nutrition and the right foods to make sure that you support your energy. And something that I really like telling the people so they can really realize all the detrimental effects of stress and they start working on it is the fact that when you're overly stressed, you also start creating a catabolic effect. What is the meaning of it? It's just that you're starting losing muscle. And you know that muscles are really important for the right functioning of your body, for healthy aging. And the more muscle you have, and the more health you will have as well. So it's really important to just keep in mind that health is should be your first priority, even if you have tons of projects and you've got a family that you've got to care about. If you don't have the energy yourself, then there's nothing you can do for the other people around you, and there's no project that you can succeed if you don't have the energy for it. Okay, so keeping the muscle mass is also very important, and providing enough potassium, magnesium, and vitamin B in your daily diet can help you manage stress in a very efficient way.
Fantastic. And I'm just going to expand a little bit on that, because I'm a bit of a nerd, as some of you know. 80% of us are walking around lacking in magnesium, and we have no clue. Okay. If you are taking medication of any description, it is going to leach your body of vitamins and minerals. So you need to be extra vigilant on the foods that you are choosing if you are on regular medication, whether that's HRT, whether it's diabetes medication, anything. And this is the bit that you're potentially not told when you get prescribed anything at all, that you need to up your game in terms of your nutrients. Magnesium helps you to sleep. Vitamin D, absolutely crucial for every single cellular function. And this is, again, stuff that you're not told. Yes, you can get vitamin D from food, but if you can get it from the sunlight, even better, which is why, guess what? We feel fabulous when we go to a hot country, because it's sunny and we're out in it, and we're exposing our skin. We feel more energized. It's not a coincidence that it's not just because you're on holiday. It's because you're getting the sun on your skin. So these are the things we can literally help ourselves to supplement with, if that's the route we choose, especially if you live in the UK. But also, I think the other thing to recognize is that the more we turn to quick fix foods, the more we go to things like alcohol to help us to wind down because maybe we're not sleeping or we want to switch our brain off, the more we're going to be, unfortunately, doing damage in terms of how our microbiome and therefore the hormones that it produces and how we feel and how we function. So all of this stuff is to say what Anissa just said. Health is your priority. If you put that first, you can pretty much do whatever you want in terms of productivity and busyness. But if you are busy over putting your health first, you're going to feel knackered.
That's true.
I think because I think a lot of people thought it was 30 minutes. It seems a good opportunity to stop the recording here. And Anissa, just before I do, if you've got some last words that you would like to share with people who are watching on the replay, and how they can get in contact with you if they want to.
Yeah, so first thing that I want to share before we end up this conversation is that for me and for everyone, just like being busy or not in any way, is just about having a holistic approach to your well-being. Even if you have a lot of projects and you want to perform in life, It's all starts with your health, your energy, and then everything will come, you know, because you'll be at the right place at the right time with the right ideas. So just care about your health first. And if you want to know more about me, or if you want a discovery call, I would be glad to do this with you. You can find me on Instagram at Wake Up Balance. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and you can write me an email. I will write down my email now so you can contact me. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks.
Brilliant. We will, for those people who have registered, you will get in the replay. So all of the links will be in your email, folks. So you don't have to worry about that. And I'm just going to share that if you are finding that you are struggling with energy, that you're feeling knackered, and you know that you are turning to food or to alcohol or other things to give you a boost, and they're not really working, and you still feel shattered, then get in get in contact with me by LinkedIn. Just send me a message in my inbox, or go over onto my website. It's just vickymidwood.com. But all of those links will be in there. And I am going to stop the recording and just to say thank you very much for joining us live, those of you who did. And for those of you who are watching the recording, thank you for watching, and stay until the end.
Thank you.